Hello, welcome to Medium with a Mic. I'm Kari and I'm thrilled you're here today because we're looking at something that I think is a very underrated aspect of spiritual growth: threshold moments. You know what a threshold is, right? It's that space between rooms, that doorway, that in between space. And in life, threshold moments are those times when you're standing between what was and what will be. You're not in the old room anymore, but you haven't fully stepped into the new one yet. And here's what our culture gets wrong: we're obsessed with beginnings. New year, new you. Fresh starts, clean slates. But we completely ignore the ending part. We rush through it. We're uncomfortable with it. We want to skip right to the shiny new beginning. But here's the truth, and this is something I see again and again in readings: the ending is just as important as the beginning. Maybe even more important, because how you complete something determines the quality of what comes next. And we're in a perfect threshold moment right now. February 28th, winter's final teaching, right before spring bursts through. So let's talk about why endings matter, what threshold moments really are, and how to navigate them with intention and grace. Let me start with something personal. Years ago, I left a job that wasn't serving me anymore. And I did what most people do. I was already mentally in the next thing before I'd even given my notice. I was planning, dreaming, excited about what was coming. But I didn't honor the ending properly. I didn't acknowledge what that job had taught me. I didn't say proper goodbyes. I didn't take time to feel the grief of leaving. Even though parts of it were good, I just left. And you know what? That pattern followed me. I carried unfinished energy into the new situation, and it created problems that I didn't anticipate. And that's when I learned threshold moments demand your attention. They're not meant to be rushed through. So, what exactly is a threshold moment? It's any time you're in transition. It could be ending a relationship or a friendship, leaving a job or starting a new one, moving to a new place, a child leaving home, graduating from school, finishing a creative project, even recovering from an illness, grieving a loss, and seasonal transitions like right now, winter moving into spring. The thing about thresholds is they're liminal spaces. Liminal comes from the Latin word limen, which means threshold. It's that in between state where you're neither here nor there. And it's deeply uncomfortable for most people. Our brains like certainty and they like to know where we stand. Threshold moments are uncertain by nature. You're releasing what was without yet having what will be. And that's vulnerable. It's scary. And that's exactly why most people rush through it. But from both a spiritual and a psychological perspective, threshold moments are where the most profound transformation happens. Let me explain the science first, and then we'll get into the spiritual side. Neurologically, when you're in a state of uncertainty or transition, your brain is actually more plastic, more open to change. There's research showing that during periods of transition, we're more likely to form new neural pathways, break old habits, and integrate new information. Your brain is literally more moldable during threshold moments. But here's the catch: if you rush through the ending without processing it, your brain doesn't get the signal that something is actually completed. It keeps running old programs. It keeps expecting the old situation. You end up carrying psychological residue into the new phase. Spiritually, threshold moments are sacred portals. Think about ancient initiation rites. They always involved a threshold stage. The person leaving their old identity, standing in the unknown before emerging as their new self. This wasn't rushed, it was honored. It was given time and space and ritual. In shamanic traditions, the threshold is where you meet spirit guides, where visions come, where deep wisdom emerges. It's called the void or the space between worlds. It's powerful precisely because you're not attached to what was or what will be. You're just present in the unknown. And that's where the transformation lives, not in the comfortable old room, not in the exciting new room, but in the doorway in between. Now let's talk about winter's final teachings because we're in a threshold moment right now. February 28th. Winter hasn't left, but spring is right there. We're in the doorway. Winter came to teach us about rest, about going inward, and letting things fall away that no longer serve us. And now, in these final days, winter is asking, did you learn? Did you integrate? Are you ready to complete this cycle properly? See, if you just leap into spring without honoring what winter taught you, you miss the magic. You skip the integration phase, and integration is everything. Think about a seed. Before it can sprout in spring, it has to go through a process in winter. It has to break down its protective coating. It has to let the cold crack it open. It has to surrender to the darkness and the waiting. If you pulled that seed out of the ground in February and tried to force it to bloom, it wouldn't work. It needs the completion of winter to be ready for spring. You're the same way. So let's talk about the three phases of threshold moments and why the ending matters so much. Phase one, the ending or letting go. This is where you acknowledge that something is complete. And I don't mean just intellectually, I mean energetically, emotionally, spiritually. You have to feel the ending. You have to grieve what's being lost, even if the change is ultimately positive. Every ending involves grief, even good endings, because you're losing something familiar. You're losing a version of yourself that existed in that old situation. That deserves to be honored. I see this all the time in readings. Someone's spirit loved one comes through and they want to talk about unfinished business from their life, things they didn't complete properly, relationships that they didn't end with intention, dreams they abandon without acknowledgement. And there's this energy of incompletion that follows them even beyond death. The spirits that come through with the most peace, they're the ones who lived and died with intention, who honored their endings, and who completed things properly. So in phase one, you acknowledge what's ending. Feel the feelings grief, relief, fear, gratitude, all of it. Identify what this phase taught you. Say proper goodbyes. Release with gratitude. For winter specifically, this might look like journaling about what these past months taught you. What did the darkness reveal? What fell away naturally? What are you grateful for, even in the hard parts? Phase two, the threshold. This is the uncomfortable part, the void, the not knowing. You've let go of what was, but you don't have what's next yet. You're standing in the doorway. Our culture hates this phase. We want to skip right from ending to beginning, but the threshold is where the alchemy happens. This is where you integrate the lessons. It's where you shed old identities. This is where you get clear about who you're becoming. This is where your intuition speaks loudest because you're not distracted by the old or seduced by the new. You're just present in the unknown. Spiritually, the threshold is where you're most open to guidance. Your ego is less defended because it doesn't know what to defend or what to reach for. Your spirit guides can get through more easily. Your own soul voice can be heard more clearly. In phase two, you sit in the discomfort without rushing. Listen deeply to your intuition. Notice what emerges in the silence. Allow yourself to not know and trust the process of transformation. For these final days of winter, this might look like meditation, spending time in nature, creating space for reflection, not planning spring yet, just being present with the in between. Phase three, the beginning or stepping through. Only after you've honored the ending and sat in the threshold are you truly ready for the beginning. And when you do it this way, the beginning is so much more authentic, so much more aligned, so much more powerful because you've integrated the lessons. You've shed what needed to be released. You've gotten clear of the void. Now you're stepping through the doorway as a more whole, more conscious version of yourself. In phase three, step forward with intention. Bring the lessons with you. Set aligned intentions. Create from a clear foundation. Trust that you're ready. For spring, this means you're not just frantically planting random seeds, you're planting with wisdom. You know what you've learned, you know what you're ready for, you know what you've released. Your spring growth is rooted in winter's wisdom. So, how do you navigate threshold moments with intention? First, recognize when you're in one. Most people miss this entirely. They're in a threshold moment and they don't even realize it. Start noticing. Am I in between something? Am I in a transition or in the doorway? Second, resist the urge to rush. Sit in the discomfort. I know it's hard, but the magic is in the waiting, in the not knowing, in that void. Third, create completion rituals. When something is ending, mark it. Write a letter you don't send. Have a private ceremony. Create art about it. You could talk to a trusted friend. Don't just ghost your own life transitions. Fourth, journal through the threshold. Ask yourself, what am I leaving behind? What did this phase teach me? What am I taking with me? Who am I becoming? And what do I need to release completely? Fifth, trust your intuition in the void. The threshold is when your intuition is loudest. Pay attention to your dreams, synchronicities, gut feelings, messages from spirit. They're coming through more clearly because you're not attached to outcomes. Sixth, honor winter's final teachings right now. Before you rush into spring mode, ask yourself, what did winter teach me about rest? What did I learn in the darkness? What naturally fell away? What am I ready to release completely? What foundation am I building for spring? And here's the beautiful thing when you honor endings, when you sit in the threshold with intention, when you complete things properly, your beginnings become extraordinary. They're not just surface changes, they're deep transformations. From a mediumship perspective, I can tell you that souls who've crossed over understand this deeply. They've experienced the ultimate threshold, death itself. And the ones who came through with the most peace are the ones who lived with intention, who honored completion, and who didn't rush through their life transitions. They want us to know, slow down, be present, honor the doorways. The ending matters as much as the beginning. We're standing in a threshold moment right now, February 28th, winter's final day, spring waiting in the wings. Don't rush through this doorway. So take time this week to honor what winter taught you. Sit with the discomfort of not knowing what spring will bring. Release what's complete, integrate the lessons, and stand in the void with intention. Because the quality of your spring, the authenticity of your growth, the alignment of your new beginnings depends on how you navigate this threshold. Endings matter. The in between matters. The doorway is sacred. So pause, breathe, feel it all. And when you're ready, when you've truly completed the ending and sat in the wisdom of the threshold, then step through into spring as the fullest, most integrated version of yourself. Use these steps in all of your important transitions. Thank you for being here today. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. You can send me an email through my website. I read every message. Trust your intuition, honor your transitions, and remember you're exactly where you need to be. This is Medium with a Mic. Until next time, keep listening to those whispers of wisdom.